So I am from a small town called Hamlet, North Carolina. It is about an hour and a half from this area, from Greensboro. And I grew up in the house. It was me, my mom, my dad, and I have an older sister. I grew up always with a house full of friends. My mom, she often jokes and says that my sister was very introverted, but I was the one always having my friends over to spend the night. I always was that. I had a whole lot of best friends. I always have, and I kept our house full of people. My dad worked a lot of hours. He and his brothers owned a construction company, and so my mom worked second shift, and so my dad spent a lot of time with us at home in the evenings. My mom was the disciplinary in our house. My dad was the fun one who the kids were scared of him, but at the same time they knew that he was like the cool parent. He would joke with the boys in the neighborhood and say, your chances with my daughters are slim to none. That was like his little famous saying. And we grew up in our household. It was a lot of fun. I grew up, I was not into sports. My parents kind of had one rule, and that was as long as we made good grades. We had a lot of rain to hang out with our friends, and that was important to me, hanging out with my girls. I was a cheerleader, and I was almost a tomboy. My parents believed that birds of a feather flock together, and so I had to hang out with the people that my parents were good friends with their parents, which happened to be mainly boys. And so growing up, my best friends were mainly boys. My sister and I, we spent a lot of time growing up with my dad's sisters. They lived on a place that we called Fisher Hill. My dad's sisters, they owned rest homes, and we would spend our childhood helping out in the rest homes. We would help, we would sit and watch the patients, and I say patients, but they really were more like family. My aunts treated them like they were their adult kids. And so we would sit, we would have to help serve dinner and fix the plates and stuff. And then afterwards, we would get to play a little bit with my cousin Sean, and we would spend time outside playing. Sundays were for churching. My mom would send us to Sunday school. We would have to catch the van and we'd go to Sunday school. I was the secretary, my sister was the president. We sung on the choir. If there ever were church girls, that was us. Fifth Sunday was for Chicago. Everything, all church. And then my mom would meet us for church to pick us up, and then we'd go to my grandmother's and spend time in what was called the Hole. So yeah, that was a lot of our childhood. My dad was in the middle somewhere of 9 kids, and he and his brothers owned a construction company. He and his brothers would spend, from what I remember, the winter months in Washington, D.C., doing construction there, and then they would come home during the summer months. His family, the Fishers, were very known in the community where we grew up. They were people who believed in helping others. They believed in entrepreneurship. And they were just very giving people, very sweet people. And I like to mention those things because my mom tells me all the time that I am a Fisher, because those are his qualities that I picked up. Very forgiving. I love to have fun. I love to laugh. And that was my dad. He loved baseball. My sister and I remember he would be at home. I guess it's not babysitting, but he would watch us while my mom was on second shift, and he had a little spot where he'd lay on the floor, and for some reason he loved baseball, and the TV would be on watching baseball. We would sit there with him, and he'd doze off after working, and that was his thing. Somewhere around probably my 8th grade, my dad got sick. We weren't sure what was going on with him. Back then, there wasn't a MD Med where you could jump on and Google symptoms. But we would eventually find out that he had cancer. And so he slowed down a lot, stopped working, would spend a lot of time at home. And as a child, he was still my hero. And so I had the thought that he would live forever. But at the end of my 11th grade year, my dad passed. He had cancer in his esophagus. And life for me kind of changed then. I was a daddy's girl. My sister and I both were. And losing him, I rebelled a little bit. I was mad. And so I became almost my mama's problem child. I went from being this straight A student to just kind of wild and really got away from my studies. My senior year, I started hanging out. I would sneak from school. I would just go home and be at home, and hung out a lot more than I probably should have. My mama probably will die whenever she sees this. I'm not even sure she knows until this day. But just life was different without him, and it took a minute for me to adjust and kind of get back on the right track. My dad left me the legacy to be Fisher Strong. He taught me and my sister a lot about hard work, about living life to the fullest, staying in the present moment, not taking people for granted, for us to be able to understand that it's important to serve. It would take me a long time to really understand that in my adult life. But once I grasped it and just really see how important it was, I look back and I see how the things that my dad and his sisters and brothers and the service that they did in the community has really helped it become a passion for me, because I see that importance of helping others. So many people are in need, and that's the legacy he left for us, the importance of helping others. And that's what I want to continue with the Fisher Projects with, and to show my son the importance of helping others and continuing his legacy by doing that, just helping as many as I can. The Fisher Projects enables me to take things to another level. It allows me to broaden my span to help more people, to help more women, and to do more things. And it also allows the opportunity for eventually, I hope, to my sister that will be able to add a project, or either my cousins Tamika and Candace, they can add projects. And it'll help us continue the legacy of honoring my dad, as well as us. We always say, you know, we are Fisher Strong. And so this gives us the opportunity to really be able to honor my dad and honor our legacy, all of us, of having fishermen as our dads. So that will give us the opportunity to do that with the Fisher Projects. The Daughters of Esther was really supposed to be a one-time Bible study with some friends. I have a network of ladies who work a lot of hours, and so the Daughters of Esther was going to give us an opportunity to study online because we were busy and didn't have the opportunity to go to a traditional Bible study. But once we did it, the ladies were wanting more, and so we prayed about it, and our first study was of Esther. And once we completed it and the ladies were wanting more, we prayed about it, and God just clearly showed that it was something we were continuing to do. Actually, in a dream, he showed me the pages continuing to turn. And so the Daughters of Esther was birthed, and it's something we are continuing to do, that study online, non-traditionally for the working woman. Breakfast with Tiffany is my baby. It is an opportunity to come together in a safe space. It was birthed after I experienced a rough time a couple of years ago, and I wanted somewhere where women could come together to discuss real life issues. to hug on each other, to enter a place empty and leave full. And so Breakfast with Tiffany was birthed out of that. I believe that every woman needs to be affirmed by her dad. And so we have done Breakfast with Tiffany, but we have an edition of the Boy Invasion where my godfather and some of my close boyfriends come in and they affirm. We have conversations with them. They tell us the do's and don'ts and the yeses and the no's, and they give us their opinion on life and the things we should and shouldn't do. And so it is just a morning breakfast of good food where women can come and just recharge and leave out ready to conquer the world. For the Daughters of Esther, each year whenever we began a study, we kind of pray about what we're going to study. And this last year, we couldn't come up with anything. We weren't led to get a Beth Moore study or Priscilla Shire. We had a hard time figuring out what we should study. And lo and behold, some of the ladies said, Tiffany, you should tell your story. You should write a book. And not me is the first thing that I thought. But I prayed about it, and God gave me the title, I'm All In First. Clear, simply because I start a lot of things and I don't finish them. And when I started talking to the ladies in the group, I found out they start a lot of things and don't finish them either. We're mothers, we're entrepreneurs, we're wives, and we're busy, and life happens. And so I'm All In was birthed from God telling me to be willing to tell my story. We take the Bible, scripture, along with prayer, and we combine it with just practical life and just steps to get us to the destination of finding what our purpose is and how to be all in with that purpose. I believe that it's important to honor those that pour into our lives, those who make impacts on our lives. And so a night of honor is going to be just that. It was created to honor women in our communities who motivate, who inspire, and who support, women who push us, help us reach our purpose. And so it's going to be our annual event where we'll do just that. We're going to honor ladies that make a difference in the lives of others. And we're also going to honor my daddy and his legacy, and the men of the Fishers. None of this would be possible without the amazing support system that I have. I am so thankful for my board members. They are the best ever. They keep me intact. They motivate me. I could be way out there sometimes, and so they keep me pulled in and just keep things on task. They've taken my vision and helped me to make it bigger, and they've helped me bring it alive. And I also have my mom, my sister, and my son. They too are on board to help make sure that the Fisher projects will be successful, and it will be one that will impact the lives of many. The Fisher projects going forward, as we launch, we have a lot of things in store. We're going to be doing some partnerships with some other agencies. We're going to be doing some workshops where we work with underprivileged kids. We're going to focus some on little girls who need affirming. We'll continue with our current projects that we have. So we'll continue with our breakfast events. We're gonna each year pick an agency that we can help So whether it be Toys for Tots or the Salvation Army, we're going to partner with them so that we can be of service to our communities. And it is our desire and hope that you will join us. I ask that you will help us by volunteering to serve with us, or making a donation if your heart is so led to do so. You can do so and find more information on our website, which is www.thefisherprojects.org. You can find us on Instagram at I Am The Fisher Projects, and we also have a Facebook page, The Fisher Projects. We look forward to you partnering with us and making the dream a reality.